Old gun guy here. Welcome to my video on a Sterling, kind of obscure little pocket pistol, only made for about 8 years, in 22 long rifle caliber 22 long rifle. The particular pistol in question is what's referred to as a pocket pistol. Very popular on and off over the last 100 years. Early in the 20th century, very popular. This company, Sterling, manufactured this pistol from about 78 until 86, and I think they went out of business, so about 8 years. You may see this and say, you may inherit something like this, or it's passed down by a relative. What is this? What's it good for? Is it good for anything? I'll try and answer some questions for you and demonstrate this little pistol, its capabilities. Also how to break it down, because it's there's no manuals in existence. There's no information. It breaks down really easily. But we'll go over the features to start out with. Like I said, the pistol fires the rimfire cartridge, 22 long rifle. Okay, pistol holds 6 shots in magazine. It's semi-automatic, straight blowback. There's no locking mechanism. It's striker fired internally, means it has a spring-loaded firing pin that actuates the cartridge. It has a manual safety on the left side of the frame. That's fire, that's safe. And so if I put it on safe, charge the gun, pull the trigger, nothing. This gun has been cleared by me, just as a proviso there. If I take the safety off, it will release the striker. The whole gun's constructed out of stainless steel. It's actually a pretty well built little gun. As near as I can tell, they were made in 22 long rifle and 25 automatic Colt pistol. It easily fits inside my hand. There is really, what good is this type of pistol? This is basically what we call a pocket pistol or belly gun. Police parlance. Very small, very lightweight, concealable pistol that you will always have with you. Some people prefer to carry something like that. That would not be my choice. It's basically designed for personal self-defense, very close range personal self-defense. It has no sights per se. All it has is this groove machined down the top of the slide that serves as a sight. A pistol such as this is designed to just be shot at arm's length, 3 feet, 2-3 feet. You know, somebody's personally attacking you at close range. It's not designed to engage in a gunfight. What it is useful for is, say you're a jogger or a female jogger, and you're jogging through a park, and some savage attacks you, and you have this with you. Is it a man stopper? No, but it may save your life because you had it with you. Like that unfortunate nursing student in Georgia, attacked by that savage. That's its basic purpose. I'm not going to go into a big detailed explanation, but pistols of these type, well, they're popular in the modern era too. Ruger makes the LCP, it's in 380 ACP. It's about the same size as this. Obviously 380 is more powerful. This pistol has a 2.5-inch barrel. There's the injection port. It's got Bakelite grips. It's got a heel magazine release, European style. A lot of these pocket pistols have over the years. Magazine gets inserted, it's locked on the base there. It unlocks. Turn it this way. It's easy to have gravity assist. To take this pistol down, I'm going to demonstrate here. You'll have to let this, take it off safe. Set it to fire. Okay. Depress the trigger and release the striker. See if this shows up on camera. It's got this little button right here. Alright, I'm going to depress it with this punch. I don't know if I could do it holding it like this. When I depress this punch, okay, the little locking piece pops out. So when you press this little button in here, this locking piece will pop out. To then disassemble a pistol, it's kind of like a Walter BBK. The slide comes back, and up and off the frame. A little notch, and then I just drop the striker on the floor. That's the striker and the striker spring. It sits in this firing pin channel, and you have an extractor up here, and it's a machined steel slide. I mean, it's actually pretty nicely finished internally. There's the rest of the pistol. You get the trigger mechanism. The little drawbar that activates the striker. The barrel is fixed to the frame. It's got a 2.5-inch barrel. And there's the operating spring. Pretty simple gun to take care of and maintain. To put it back together, I put the striker back in the pistol. I'm going to put the slide back on. I just cleaned this and moved it up, and the striker, which was stiff before, is sliding out. I have to tilt it down this way. Draw it back onto the frame. Okay. And then you push this locking piece back in. And then alright, it's back together. That's all there is to it. It operates on a straight blowback principle. Cartridge, you fire the cartridge, just the master of the slide and the spring, and then it keeps it locked. So it just goes back. Spent cartridge as it's fired. It's extracted, ejected, spring pushes the slide forward. It strips another round off the magazine and chambers around. We're going to go out and test this and demonstrate its capabilities. Just for comparison, 45 ACP, 9x19, 9mm Luger, 22 long rifle. This is CCI mini mags we're going to use. It's a 36 grain jacketed hollow point projectile. The advertised velocity on the box is 1,260 feet per second. With that, we'll go outside and test this little pistol, and then we'll follow up with a summary at the end. Okay, first up is a chronograph. I'm going to try two pistols. The Sterling, of course. It's a very short barrel, and a 6-inch barrel Ruger Mark II 22 caliber target pistol. be using CCI 36 grain mini mags. It's a 36 grain jacketed projectile. First up is the Ruger with 2 shots and the same ammunition in the Sterling. And now the Sterling. Okay, that was our chronograph results. We'll deal with them in a summary. Next up will be a recoil comparison between a normal sized target pistol 22 and this little pocket gun, the Sterling Model 304. And now the Sterling. Okay, next up is our target. I'm going to go back 7 yards and shoot 6 shots with the Sterling. The aiming point will be the center dot of the target. I'm going to put the camera on the target. That's our group. Alright, next up I'm going to do terminal effects test with the little Sterling pistol. Basically it's going to be a 1 gallon water jug, 3/4 inch piece of plywood, and another 1 gallon or 2 1 gallon water jugs behind it. General rule of thumb is if it'll penetrate a 3/4 inch plywood, it'll create a lethal wound. So I'm going to set that up, and that'll be our next and final test, and then we'll summarize everything. That was quite unremarkable. Okay, we're going to try that again. I'm going to put piece of plywood in front of the jug and see what result we get there. Okay, we're going to summarize that little ballistic performance test. The first shot, just put a hole clean in and out of the jug, 6 inches of water. Struck the plywood right there. Just put a dent in the plywood. I didn't look in a jug and see if the projectile bounced in there or was laying on the ground. The second test, the plywood in front of the jugs, I'm sorry, that's the first shot. Went through the jug, whatever's left of the bull is stuck in that knot. This is the second shot. It went through the plywood, and it drilled itself through the first jug into the second jug, and the projectile is in the second jug. This is the second jug. There's just an entrance hole. The projectile is in the bottom of the jug. And we'll go inside and discuss this for the summary. And we're back for our summary, back inside. As you can see by the chronograph, I only fired 2 shots. The 22 is not really a problem, but ammunition's expensive, and I could fire 5 or 6 or 10 shot groups. It gets tedious. Doing this for decades, I pretty much know what certain rounds are gonna clock. there's quite a disparity. I guess this is the 1,260 feet per second of CCA. Listed velocity, probably out of a rifle barrel. Out of a 5.5-inch target pistol Ruger. The first shot was 1,008, second was 1,090, and then it averaged 1,049, and the energy in foot-pounds was 87 foot-pounds. Very minuscule. The Sterling, it's a model 302 or 304. There's no model number on the pistol, and the company's so short-lived. I can't find no literature on it. The first shot 818, second 825, and the energy is 54 foot-pounds. The one shot, there was an error on the chronograph. I had to restart the chronograph. That happens sometimes. Sometimes you get a light disturbance, even though that chronograph has LED lights above the screens. The electronic eyes at the base. Basically, a 25 ACP fires a 50 grain projectile at about the same speed that this 36 grain projectile was traveling at this little pistol. Not a lot of energy. A 25 automatic, John Browning invented the cartridge because he wanted a reliable pocket pistol. 22 long rifle, rim fire. The priming compound is in the inside rim of the cartridge, and when the firing pin strikes the edge of the rim, it initiates the propellant, as opposed to a centerfire cartridge, which is pretty much everything else, has a separate primer. There's no primer in here. It's been punched on this 45 ACP dummy round. The ballistics are quite anemic. As far as shooting the target, I shot it at 7 yards, which is 21 feet, which is really a ridiculous amount for this pistol with no sights. It's basically an arm's length, last ditch defense weapon, close range. If you were being attacked and you had this unlawfully on your person, going about your business, and you're afraid you're going to be killed or your life is in danger, the best use is to shove this in somebody's face and let all 6 shots go, and that's your best chance of stopping somebody. Your adversary might stop for psychological reasons. You shoot him, you hit him a couple of times with the 22, and he just runs away because he's shot. He could very well empty the gun into him. He could go about beating you to death or killing you, and die maybe 6 hours later in an emergency room somewhere. Like I said, handguns are low-power weapons, and this is the lowest of low-power handguns. Does it beat a poke in the eye with a sharp stick? Yes, but not by much. That said, countless thousands of people over the decades have been killed with 22 caliber long rifle firearms, pistols, rifles. It's not a toy. That said, it's not optimal for any self-defense use, really. But if it's all you have, and someone, a relative passed away and you inherited this thing, or perhaps you went into a gun store and they had this in the used thing, and you wanted a little tiny gun, cheap, you might pick it up for $75 or $100, and that's all you could afford. Better than nothing. Especially in some parts of the United States, they've decimated the police forces, and the crime is really spiking up in many areas of the country, and it's a shame. It's a tragedy, really. As far as the accuracy, shooting it, before I go off on a tangent here, at 7 yards, 21 feet, it basically, I was aiming here with the rudimentary sights, and this was your group. This one up here, okay, went through the cardboard sideways, so obviously the projectile unstabilized. It's a sideways impact through through the cardboard. So this was the groove. For some reason that didn't stabilize. A defect in the manufacture of the projectile. We just didn't grip the rifling right, and just started flying off in some direction. So with a different ammunition, it might center here, it might center there, your groups. But as long as your group is, I mean, for that little tiny gun, at that distance, that's more than acceptable. The recoil comparison I just did to show you that it's no recoil at all on either one of the pistols. Obviously the Ruger is much heavier. I don't know the weight on this. I don't have a scale that would read this. I'd estimate about 12 or 13 ounces. It's pretty light. The trigger pull is breaks pretty clean. It's probably about 4 pounds. I would not recommend carrying this or any pocket pistol with a round in the chamber if you're going to carry it. It's best if you see, hopefully you see trouble this for a few minutes, you draw this and just rack the slide back and run around into it real quick. It does have a safety. I don't know how much I would trust this safety. It appears to work, but you have this in your pocket and the safety gets bumped off and you manipulate it, you shoot yourself in the leg or something you don't want to do. Like I said, is it very handy? Yes it is. So are the 25 autos and the little mini 32 and 380 polymer pistols I make today. Everything's a trade-off though. 380 kicks a lot more than a 22. My nephew has a LCP in 380 and it's pretty lively when you shoot it. Not unmanageable, but it's a little tiny pistol, shooting a much more powerful cartridge. And with that, that's all I got to say about this little pocket pistol. I just decided to do it because of the logistics. I had all the stuff out when I was doing my PPK video. So, and that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good evening. And before I forget, we'll discuss the terminal effects on the water jug, the cheap water jug terminal effect target. Basically 1 gallon water jugs, 6 inches of about depth of water. They're about 6 inches wide. The first test was a water jug, 3/4 inch sheet of plywood, and 2 water jugs behind it. The projectile poked a clean hole through the first water jug and embedded itself in a knot in the plywood, so it did not penetrate the plywood. I did that test before, and I got the same result. The second shot, I put the plywood in front of it, did water jugs, and it drilled through the plywood and went through the first jug and put a hole in the second jug, and the projectile was recovered in the bottom of the second jug. As a rule of thumb, 3/4 inch piece of plywood could simulate a bone, but it's a very old school way of assessing the potential lethality of a projectile, and very cheap too. A little piece of plywood and a couple of water jugs. It conveys the relative power of various firearms as we go through this. And that, with that, old gun guy signing off. Have a good night.